eating. We're going to be eating and watching your video.
Okay, how was the play?
It was good. We left. It wasn't over yet, so we had to leave. You know, it
Oh,
was the nutcracker.
okay. I really
All right.
liked all of the sloths that you guys made. They looked very good. All right, so today I'm going to be talking about the framing of the house. A lot has been going on and since I saw you guys 2 weeks ago. So I'm really excited to share with you guys all the pictures, and I'm going to go ahead and pull them up right now so you can go ahead and get started. Let's see. All right. So last week, you guys remember what this is called? The slab, right? And it's made out of a mixture of concrete, sand, water, and gravel. And when it all dries, it gets really hard, and this is the foundation for the whole house. Look familiar?
Yep.
Alrighty. And you guys remember we've got the plumbing that is sticking out, and these pipes will be in the walls, and they'll be able to connect to your sinks and your toilets, so that way you guys have fresh water in the house. And these little bolts sticking out around the perimeter of the slab, if you remember, they put these in while it was still wet. These are called anchor bolts. And today we're going to see how these are used, because this is what is going to connect the walls to the actual foundation of the house. Now, the first thing that they do is they take chalk. You can see these red lines. These are chalk lines. And they go ahead and they put chalk where all the walls are going to be in the house. So you can see here's a wall. And they write down notes like whether the size of a door or a window, where those are going to be located. So they actually draw on the slab where all these things are going to be first. Now, one thing that I wanted to point out to you is that I didn't talk about last time. See this big rod that's sticking out here from the slab? What this is actually for is this is called a grounding rod, and what it is for is if your house gets hit by lightning, and as you guys know, living in Florida, there's a lot of thunderstorms. If your house gets hit by lightning, what this rod will do is eventually this rod will be connected to all the wires in your house, and it'll take the electricity from the wires, and the electricity will be drawn to this tall rod, and it will go into the ground. So that way your house won't get affected by lightning. So that's what this is for here. Just a little side note. And so these are where the walls are going to be. You can see they drew them in chalk. And they wrote down different notes for the different sizes of the doors and the windows. And now the next step is you're going to be building the walls. Now, the exterior walls of the house are called load-bearing because they're the ones that are carrying the load, the weight of the roof. So they have to be extra strong to make sure that they can support the roof, which is very heavy, and also make sure that the house stays strong if it is affected by wind or storms or hurricanes. So I'm going to show you, there's 3 different ways that you can create the exterior walls. Now, in Coral Springs, the exterior walls of your homes are made with concrete blocks, okay? Now, these blocks are 8 inches thick, and they're made of concrete similar to the foundation of the house, okay? And these are very strong. But one negative to these blocks is that they're very thick. So it takes away space from inside of your house because the walls are so thick. Now, in Gainesville, where we're building, the winds from hurricanes don't get as strong, and building with concrete blocks is not very popular. So we build our homes with wood frames, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But this is another way that you can build the perimeter of your house. What this is something that's very new. These are called eco blocks. And this is a very energy efficient way to build. This is actually foam. And they have foam and little plastic connectors, and they pour concrete in between the foam so it's insulated. So this is eco block. So far we've went over, there's 3 different ways that you can build the exterior load-bearing walls of your home. You can do concrete block, you can do eco block, or like how we do it in Gainesville, you use wood frame, okay? So this is the actual wood that we're going to be using to build the walls, and it comes from a specific type of tree. It's called southern yellow pine. So southern yellow pine trees are the trees that they cut the wood from, and the reason why they use that tree is because, one, it grows very fast. So it's really easy to farm the trees and be able to cut them down and use for the wood. And another reason is they're very strong. Now they come in different sizes, but they're all 2 by 4, 2 inches. See, this is 2 inches and this is 4 inches wide. So they're called 2 by 4s, okay? And that they're called 2 by 4s because of the actual dimensions. And then they come in, this is a 10-foot long. So it's 2 by 4 by 10 feet here, because that's how tall our walls are. Our walls are 10 feet long. They also come, these are 16 feet long. And we use these for, I'll show you later on, they use the 16-foot long ones for the top plates, which I'll show you what those are. So we've got 2 by 4 by 16s, 2 by 4 by 10s. And this is a close-up so you can see the wood. And they come delivered on a truck to the site. And then the framers, and you'll see pictures of them, go ahead and lay them on the slab. Now the first thing that they do is they put the 2 by 4 by 16s and they lay them along the whole perimeter where all the walls are going to be. Now do you see these are green? Now the reason why these are green is because they're treated with a chemical called Boracare, okay? So these are sprayed with a chemical to make sure that the wood does not rot when it's touching the concrete, or that it doesn't get eaten by bugs, okay? So that's very important. You don't want to build your home with wood that's going to get rotten. So these come already sprayed green because these are the ones that are going to be touching the concrete on the bottom of the wall, and they're called bottom plates. They're called bottom plates because they're on the bottom of the wall. And this is what's going to be on the top of the wall. This is called a top plate. And later on, after the walls are built, they'll go ahead and spray the other wood with the Boracare, and they'll turn green as well. Now what they do is they line these up, and the framers will mark with like a pencil where all of the wood studs are going to be. And I'll show you what a wood stud is. So they mark here with a pencil where all the studs are going to be. Then they separate, this is the top plate, this is the bottom plate, and they put all those 2 by 4 by 10s, and they line them up where they marked with their pencil.
Right.
And do you have a question?
No, I was just directing somebody, sorry.
Okay, yeah, so this is actually the wall, and they lay the wall out on the ground first because it's easier to build that way, and then they'll lift it up. Okay, so they lay all the 2 by 4s. Now, when the 2 by 4s are laid down and they become part of the wall, they're no longer called 2 by 4s. They're called studs. So these are now studs, and they're laid every 16 inches apart. Okay, so from here to here, 16 inches. From here to here, 16 inches. And here's the guy here. He's got a nail gun. And he's going ahead and nailing all these pieces of wood together so that way they're nailed to the bottom plate and they're nailed to the top plate. There's another view here. He's got the nail gun, so he's nailing it, and this guy over here, he's cutting the wood to make sure some of them are the right size.
Well, I don't know why.
Then you see they lift up the wall that was on the ground. They lift it up and they put it over these little these anchors, and they drill holes where all these anchors are. I'll show you pictures of that in a minute. And they place it on top of these anchor bolts, and then there you got it. You got the walls are starting to be framed up. Now these walls,
Wait a minute, Loree. So I just wanted them to know, like, first it was flat on the ground, and look how they now raised it.
It's flat on the ground. And I was trying to get a picture of them picking it up, but they're so fast. Every time they picked the wall up, I missed it. So I didn't get any pictures of them actually picking the walls up. But they basically pick it up. They have one guy on each side, and they're all nailed together, all these pieces. So it's just one giant piece. And they pick it up and they place it along the perimeter. And then what they do is when there's two separate walls, they go ahead and nail them together. And then these pieces right here, these are called braces. Now these braces are temporary, and they nail them to the walls so that way they can stand up by themselves until the whole house is finished being framed. So they go ahead and they nail these other pieces of wood to brace the wall so that way the wall doesn't fall down. Now, you see there's these gaps. Not all the studs are 16 inches apart. You got these gaps here. Can anyone tell me what they think goes in these gaps?
Anybody? Oh, go ahead, Skylar.
Brick?
No.
Brick, she says?
That's a good guess, but these gaps are for windows. They're for windows. So wherever you see these gaps, that means a window is going to go in that place. Now, because you don't have these studs supporting the wall where the windows are going, they put an extra big piece of wood across the top called a header. So these are called headers, and they put these up where the windows are going to be to make the wall strong. And then later on, they'll go ahead and they'll put some smaller pieces of wood on the bottom to support the window. But these spaces are where windows are going to go. See, here's another view of the wall. Here's where a window is going to be. These are all 16 inches apart. Now here you could get a close-up look at the bottom plate. So remember, this is green because it was treated by chemicals to make sure it doesn't get rotten. And now you can see these are those anchor bolts that were sticking up from the concrete, and they drilled holes so that way the wall goes right on top and those bolts stick up. So that way the walls can be connected to the ground. And I don't know if you can see, there's like kind of like a blue like foam sticking up in between. This foam is called sill sealer, and what they do is they roll this underneath this green bottom plate, and that makes sure there's no air gaps in between the slab and the piece of wood. So that seals
Loree,
any...
we have a question.
Yeah.
We have a question.
Okay.
Skylar?
Would anybody come with an animal, somebody, and like start like destroying it, like moving things and stuff?
Well, that would be a very...
Loree?
That would be a very mean person who would come and destroy someone's work. If that were to happen, we'd have to call the police because they would be vandalizing someone else's work. But it's very unlikely because there's a lot of people out here working and watching what's going on. So luckily we haven't had anyone... What was that?
Loree, would animals come and damage? Would animals come?
In Gainesville, there's no like,
Animals?
Yeah, there's no like large animals that could really destroy it. Like if there's like a cat or a dog running through, like they really couldn't do any damage because the walls are pretty strong and they're all nailed together. So there's not really much damage that they can do. So we have been fortunate. We haven't had any animals destroy the any part of the house while it's being framed. Also, there's like a lot of noise because the nail gun is very loud, and there's a lot of people and cars around, so it would probably scare a lot of the animals away.
Okay.
Okay, so here's a picture. You can see the guy. He's drilling holes for where all these little anchor bolts are going to go through. Here's a picture. You can see another wall in the corner. They're connecting it. Now they're drilling the two walls together. Here they're going ahead, they're adding the braces so the wall doesn't fall before they're finished. Here's another brace here. This is an example of one of the walls that's going to go up that has a window. So you can see here's the bottom plate, so this is going to be what's touching the ground. Here's the top plate, and then another thing that they do when there's windows is, and I'll go ahead and show you a picture, is they put extra studs on either side to make sure that it's strong. So not only do you have a big, thick header piece of wood here, you also have a bunch of studs nailed together, close together here to support it, to make sure that it's nice and strong. This is the garage. So the garage, there's a big opening, so you got a big header here. And I'll show you. You can see they've got all the different studs. It looks like they've got 1, 2, 3, 4 small studs here and 3 large ones supporting it. Now what they call these actually have names. These smaller ones underneath the header are called jacks, and these larger ones that go all the way to the top plate are called kings. So you got jacks and kings supporting the header. And you can see the framer, he's up there, he's checking his plans, making sure everything's lining up appropriately. You can't be afraid of heights when you're a framer. You can see here the house is getting further along. You got all these crazy braces everywhere, supporting all the walls. Now, this is a close-up. You've got the bottom plate here. This is that blue sill sealer I showed you, which makes sure there's no air gaps. And this is the anchor bolt that came up through the concrete. And what they do is they go ahead and they put, different pieces on here to screw it together. So now you can see when that's all screwed in, this whole wall, like all these studs are nailed to this bottom plate, and this bottom plate is very secured to the actual concrete. So all of these are very they're all connected and secured together, so that way if a wind comes, it's not going to blow it away. Everything's going to stay nice and strong. You can see here's an example of the pipes, how they make room in the walls for the pipes. They cut around it. And then here, what these are, they go ahead and they put these straps. And these are called hurricane straps because what they do is they strap you've got straps on the top and the bottom, and they strap the studs to the slab, and they also strap them to the top plate, so that way this makes the house very strong. If a hurricane comes and there's a lot of wind, it adds extra strength for that by strapping everything together. So those are called hurricane straps. Now, after they go ahead and they have all the walls in, they add another top plate on top of the first one. So they got two 2x4x16s on top of each other here. Now, they're not long enough to reach the whole length of the house, so sometimes they have to divide them in half. Now, if they go in half on the bottom, they always have to make sure that where they meet is below a stud to make sure that it's nice and strong. So that's something that they make sure that they do. These are all the braces. See, the anchor bolt is nice and secured. They also mark where all the pipes are, so that way when they start putting up the walls, they don't nail any of the pipes. Because imagine if they put a nail through the pipe, all the water would start leaking through the walls. So they mark here so that way they know not to nail over here and hit any of the pipes. And that is what I have for the framing. I have more pictures of the trusses, but now would be a good time to ask questions, and then we can move on to the next step.
We have some questions here.
Alrighty.
So, Kaden, she's writing it down.
Okay.
What? Do you hear?
What was the question?
Do you work at night?
Do you work at night?
Sometimes they work at night. For the framing, these guys did not work at night, but they did work in the rain. There was part of, it took them 3 days to do the framing, and one of the days it was raining, so they did work during the rain, but they didn't work at night. Sometimes they'll have spotlights. Some of the guys will come and so that way they can light up the area that they're working. But yeah, for this house, they were just working during the day at this part. Any other questions?
Yes. Skylar.
I have 2 questions. Do you build other houses while
Let me
you're
get a
building
microphone.
the house?
Wait, Lori, I'm going to get a microphone so you can hear them.
Okay, I think I heard he said, do we build other houses at the same time while these are going? The answer is yes. We do. I think we've got maybe about 10 homes going up right now. Usually they're all in different stages. So like right now we have our framers working on this house, and when they're done with this house, they'll go work on the next house. So they're all kind of staggered. So maybe we start them, let's say we start them all like a week or a couple weeks apart. So that way the guys, when they finish each job, they can go from one house to the next house. Any more questions, or should I go on to show you guys some more pictures?
Wait,
we have another question. 2 more questions. Go ahead,
Okay.
Skylar.
where do you get all the wood that you use for the wall?
Okay. Well, all the wood, like I said, they come
Where
from
do you get the wood?
southern yellow pine trees. So there's a farm somewhere that grows southern yellow pine trees that are meant just for cutting down and using for these wood studs. Now, then there's a store that we go ahead, that store buys those studs, and then we buy it from that store. So we buy the studs from a store, and they go ahead and deliver it on a truck right to the construction site, so that way our guys can use them.
Okay. All right, Brian has a question.
Okay.
Go ahead, Brian.
What if like a rock falls down and hits the wood? Does it fall, or is it strong enough?
The wood is very strong. Not only is each individual stud very strong, because it's it's a piece of wood from a tree. It's solid. But all the walls they're all nailed together. So they're nailed on the top and the bottom like a sandwich with all the studs in between, and then they're also secured to the concrete slab, which is very strong because it's inches thick of concrete that sits on top of the ground. So everything's all nailed together, which makes it very strong. So yeah, a piece of wood, a rock falling, it wouldn't knock it down.
Go ahead. We have one more student, then you could go on. Go ahead, Blake.
Okay.
Is it hard to build the houses?
Is it hard? Yes, it's hard because there's a lot of different. Yeah, there's a lot of different factors that you have to think about, and you have to schedule everything on time. But in particular, the guys that do this job, it's a very hard job because you can see they're climbing up on top of walls. They're bending over, nailing all day long. So it's a very hard working, they're out there in the rain. It's not an easy job, but it's something that they're very good at. Okay, so,
Go on.
all right, so we saw basically the walls of the house are all framed up. So what happens next? The next thing is that they put the roof trusses on top of these walls. Now, what are roof trusses? Roof trusses, I'm going to show you pictures, but basically what they are is they create the outline for the roof, and they also create the outline for the ceiling. So for example, if you have a house and it has like a tray ceiling like this, see how the ceiling kind of steps up here? Well, the roof trusses define those steps. So they not only define where your ceiling is in your house, they also define the edges of the actual roof. So you know how your roof has like peaks and valleys? That creates the shape, and it also has to be very strong to make sure that it can hold your roof shingles and it can hold up any wind that blows on the house. So how do they design these trusses? Yep.
No, I was just going to, that's the inside of what a house is going to look like. So
yeah,
they wanted to picture. Okay.
Yeah, this is similar to the house that's being built, what it's going to look like when it's finished. So you can see you've got like a tray ceiling here, and this is defined by those roof trusses. Now what we do is we have a floor plan, which I showed you guys a couple weeks ago. Now this is the roof plan, so you can see where all the tray ceilings are going to be. These are these dotted lines. We've got the outside of the house dimension, and you can see it's got the roof on here also, where all the lines and peaks and valleys of this roof are. So we give this plan to someone called a truss designer. And what the truss designer does is they go ahead and design the roof trusses. So they go ahead and they make their own layout. See, all of these pieces are roof trusses, all these lines, and I'll show you what they look like in real life. They decide where all the roof trusses need to be in order to make the roof strong and to make it, give it the look that you want it to. Then they take each one of these lines and it has a number. So you see this line right here is called A19, A18, A17. Every roof truss has a number to it. And then they go ahead and they make each roof truss, they design it to what it actually looks like. See, that's what it's actually going to look like. And then they give this drawing to an engineer, and the engineer approves it and says, yep, this is going to be strong, this looks good, it's going to work. And then they send these designs to a truss plant, which takes the wood, and it cuts all the wood up and connects it to make these roof trusses. Now that truss plant, once they have all the trusses all designed, on a truck, and they deliver them to our site. And this is how we get them. So these are all the pieces of roof trusses, and they're already designed just like on the paper plans, ready for us to hang them up on the house.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that picture.
What was that?
Oh, okay, because you're a little delayed, so now we see the picture.
Okay. These are the roof trusses. Now, the framers, they'll do some work preparing the trusses. They, attach some of the pieces, they're dimensioning them, getting them ready. See, they've already assembled some of them. Then what happens is they go up onto the top of the wall, and they, with a piece of chalk, they mark where all the roof trusses have to go along the whole perimeter of the top of the walls. So they mark with their pencil where the roof trusses are going to be, and then a crane comes. And this is kind of neat. The crane comes, and it's very big, and it picks up each truss from the pile that you saw, and it swings it over to the house. And then what the guys do is they go ahead and they take it off of the crane and they position it where they marked with their pencil on the wall where it's got to be. Now, it's really important that they get it in the right spot, because otherwise the roof isn't going to fit properly, or the tray ceilings, those might not fit properly either. So it's really important that they put them all together in the right spot. You can see it was kind of raining on this day when this was going on. And they go ahead, when they get them in the position, they nail them to the walls. And they do it just like that drawing outline where all the pieces are going to be. And they make sure that it gets all matched up. They dimension to make sure it's in the right spot, and then they've got their nail gun. They're going to go ahead and nail them together. You can see here, this is a little bit later on, you can see the shape of the roof is starting to take place. And they go ahead, they nail these little braces to get them connected to each other. And they're all these weird shapes because...
Wait a minute, Loree. Loree, I just wanted to tell them that this is the same house that we've been seeing, the slab.
Yep.
Are we watching? Isn't this the same house?
Yeah.
So we saw them pour the slab. Now,
this is the roof. You saw the walls going up. You saw the walls going up. And now this is part of the roof. So you can see this is going to be one side of the roof. And there's different dips and curves. And this is how the ceiling is going to fit together. And all these weird shapes eventually create the roof. So yeah, this is the same house that you saw that was just dirt. Then it was a concrete slab. And then you saw today, I showed you the walls. They put up the walls. We saw the walls going up. And then the next step is they put the roof trusses on, and it creates the shape and outline of the roof.
So that was the house that we saw the slab.
And this whole thing takes 3 days. This whole process, all these walls going up, only took 3 days. Now this is from the inside. So you can see like...
Wait a second, Loree. Wait, because it's hard for them to see that this is a house, but I'm just going up here and pointing. Here is the garage. Here's going to be the end.
Yeah.
Wait. Yeah, let's go back to the front of the house. It's a little bit of a delay, so your pictures are coming on different when you're talking. So
let me go ahead. I'm gonna pull up a picture of what the house is gonna look like when it's finished.
This one, just leave that. Yeah, so this is the entrance, and this is going to be probably a place with Brian, a window. So you walk in here, but this is the garage, the entrance, and this is another room. So sometimes it's hard for them to see.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up a picture. Let's see. No, that's not it.
We'll see when they sell it. That's what we're going to do too. So it's very exciting. Well, we'll ask her what she's going to do on the vacation.
Can you guys see this picture here?
Wait a minute. As I said, it's coming in a delay. We still see the frame.
All right. There we go. You see it now?
Loree, did you freeze?
Yeah, can you see it now?
No, we still just see the frame.
Okay, I'm going to get off the screen share. Okay, I'm going to try to show you.
Oh, there it is. Okay. We got it. Yeah, okay. See, this is what the house is going to look like when it's done. But you can see the garage. You see the entrance in that room. she's going to try to do it side by side.
Yeah.
But you can now see from the frame, it's not going to be a school, it's going to be a house. But you can see from the frame. So that's interesting to see what the finished product, and that's what somebody looks at that, and that's what they say, I want to buy. And then you actually see the process being built. We have some questions here, Loree, so let me just...
Okay.
Okay. All right, hold on. Okay, so remember, it is a little delayed today. Say who you nice and loud.
Do you guys cut the wood, or do somebody else cut the wood for the house?
Those guys that you saw working, they are called framers. That's the name of the job that they have, because they do the frame of the house, and part of their job is to dimension the pieces of wood and cut them, and they have a saw that they use, and they cut it to the right sizes that it needs to be. But the wood, when we get the wood, it already comes cut in 2x4 by 10 or 2x4 by 16, and then they'll cut it down further if it has to be smaller. Another question?
Can you pick what you want your house to be made out of?
Yeah.
Can you pick?
Can you pick what you can make your house made out of?
Yeah, there are options. Like I showed you in the beginning, you can do the exterior of your home in concrete block, or you can do it in wood frame. I didn't tell you one of the advantages of doing the home in the wood frame is that it's easier to insulate, so it makes the walls a little bit more energy efficient, which is one of the positives. Or you could do that new eco block, which I showed you, which is the foam. So you can choose. When you're buying a home, though, with Skobel Homes, which is the homes that we're building, we don't give people a choice. They're all wood frame. But if you are looking to build, you know, your own home, you can choose.
Skylar?
I have 4 questions.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Do you buy furniture for the house when it's done, or do the people that buy it too?
Okay, well, we have, in each community that we're building in, we have one home that's a model home. And what that home is, it's a finished home that people can walk through so they can see what the home looks like finished. And inside that home, we have all of our marketing brochures and floor plans and house options. And in that home, we do furnish it. So we pick out all the furniture, all the pictures and decorations, so that home is complete. Now this home that you're seeing that we're building right now, someone has actually already bought that home. So when we're finished building it, they're going to go ahead and move into the home, and they're going to either bring their own furniture that they have from where they lived before, or they'll go out shopping to buy some new nice stuff for the house.
Could you take a picture of the family when they move in?
Yeah, I can do that. You know, when we started building this house, when we started the video lessons with you guys, this house was still for sale. No one had bought it. But since we started building the house, someone has bought it. So since you guys have been following it. So yeah, when it's finished, they're going to move in, and we'll take a picture so you guys can see them, and see the house all finished.
You have another question?
Yeah. Do you have to build the door when you're building the walls?
What was that?
Do you have to build the door when you're building the walls?
Okay. When you're building the walls, you have to leave openings for the door. So you have to make sure that the opening is big enough so that way the door fits. And also you have to make sure that on the top and the sides of the door, there's extra support so that way the wall is strong even though you've got that opening. Then later on, what we do is you'll see we go ahead, we order the doors from a company, and then we have someone, they install them inside the walls. So we leave openings for the doors. And then they go on later.
Is the house going to have stairs?
This house does not have stairs. But we will have homes with stairs in the future. But this particular one is a one-story. Although you could see some of the rooms are very tall, they've got very tall ceilings. I think a couple of the rooms, the ceilings are 14 feet tall, so it's very large, but just one story.
Go ahead, Catherine.
How do you attach the doors to the walls?
How do you attach the doors to the walls? Okay, well, I'll show you that when the doors are going to be installed, but basically the door comes with a frame around the door, and that frame is drilled to the wall. So there's a door frame that is connected to the wall, and then within that frame you've got the door, and it has the joints so you can open and close it and stuff. So it comes with a frame.
Go ahead, Ian.
Have you made a hotel before?
Ooh.
Have you made a hotel?
We have not made a hotel, just houses. Yeah, we have not. Although that would probably be a fun and very large project.
Charmaine.
How can you make the wood stand?
How do they make it stand? Well, what they do is you can see.
Yes.
Just so you can see here, I've got the two of them side by side. Can you see the garage with the garage? Here's what the entry is going to be. This is this room. Can you guys see the resemblance?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, basically, all the walls. See all these braces. Let me zoom in closer. See all this like zigzag of like wood across? These are all temporary braces that hold up the walls until they're finally secured. But basically, all these pieces of wood, they're all connected to each other. So once the whole frame of the house is complete, they're all supporting each other and leaning against each other, so that way they'll stand up. But until that happens, they put these temporary braces to make sure that the walls have something to lean on.
Okay.
Do you have to watch the house at night?
No, we don't.
You hear that, Loree?
Yeah, do we have to watch the house at night? No, we don't have to watch the house at night. We make sure, the guys who come and work, they don't leave any of their expensive tools around. So it's a nice, safe neighborhood, so there's no theft. But we make sure that the guys who work, they don't leave their nail guns or their saws around. They take all that stuff home with them. So that way none of that can get stolen. But otherwise, no, we just leave it till the next day.
Okay.
Do you build two-story houses?
We actually are just going to start building two-story houses. Right now, we've only built one story, but we have a new community that we're going to start building in where we're going to do two-story houses. So very soon. And those will have stairs in them.
Have you ever built a mansion before?
No, we haven't built a mansion before. All the homes that we build, they basically we have a set number of floor plans that people can choose from, and we've got 3, 4, 5, and 6 bedroom type floor plans. So people come and they can pick from those different designs, and then we'll go ahead and build that house. And whereas someone who was building a mansion, they might come and want to design their own floor plan. So it might have 10 bedrooms and all these different extra cool spaces, but we try to make our homes as nice as possible, but keep them still standardized to the same floor plans over and over again.
Lauren?
I have two questions. What do you make the how do you get the windows?
How do you make the windows? Okay, well, like you guys saw, we left openings for the windows. And then what happens is the next step of the house is they go ahead and they take it's called OSB, and it's like these large pieces of wood, and they coat the whole house so that way the walls look like solid. And then the windows are placed inside the walls. So basically, we leave the openings for the windows now, and then later on, the window installers will come with the windows, which are made of glass, and the windows have frames just like the doors, and they go ahead and nail those to the walls.
One more question, and then Jada, and then go ahead.
What do you like best about making the houses?
What do I like best about making the houses? Well, I really like designing the houses, so coming up with all the different floor plans, where all the rooms are going to be, and then it's really fun to see the house actually get built from seeing it on paper, than to see it actually get built and look all pretty with all the different paint colors and flooring finishes, and then to see someone happy move into the house and they get to live in it, and you get to see them with their kids and their dogs walking down the street. So it's kind of like a nice full circle thing.
One more last question.
Do you know any of the families that live in one of the houses?
I do. I know most of them because I live in the same community, so we're neighbors. So just like how you guys know your neighbors, I know my neighbors. So yeah, I know a lot of the people that live in the community in our houses, and they're all really nice.
Loree, do we have a lesson next Friday?
Yeah, definitely. Next Friday, you'll see.
What's the lesson
on? Basically, the next step is. So here you see you've got all these wooden studs. The next step is they start putting on the wall sheathing. So it'll start to look even more like a house, and then after that, the roof comes on. So you can see from today, we went all the way from, and all this happened in just like 3 days. We went from here all the way to here. So that's a big difference, right? Yeah, so the next we'll see more of the walls and the roof come on. That'll be the next step.
There's a little bit of a delay. So the next time we see the roof on, correct?
I think so, yeah. You'll see more of the walls and possibly the roof.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay. All right, Loree, we're wrapping it up. So everyone say goodbye to Loree.
Bye. Have a good weekend.
All right, Loree, I'll speak to you later.
All right.
Okay, I'll speak to you later, Loree. Love you.
Bye. Love you too.